Yo, what's going on everybody? It's your boy Naruto Explain here, bringing you guys another Boruto Next Generation discussion on the fallout from Boruto chapter 80. And today I wanted to shift gears for a second and take a look at a passing line in the manga that could have major seeds planted in for the future for a plot twist that occurs after the time skip. And like always, we're gonna weigh the pros and cons of this plot twist should it actually come to fruition. So as we all know, in the last Boruto chapter, Boruto was given a couple of major breaks in the form of Sasuke being sent to save Boruto by Sarada, and most importantly, Ada agreeing to let Boruto go free and giving him her word that she won't do anything to betray Boruto's trust while he's out on the run. Now, I think we all can agree that when a big plot twist like this just happened where Boruto and Kawaki switched lives, so many of us wonder how in the world was Boruto gonna stay alive and keep from being caught by Konoha, because Konoha was in possession of Ada, and Ada made it clear that her goal was to win over Kawaki at all costs, which left us believing that she'd end up giving away Boruto's location using her sharingan. As we discussed in a few videos where we looked at where Boruto could actually have hiding spots set, we came back to the same issue each time, which is that Ada's sharingan eye can literally see in other dimensions, so there wasn't truly any place Boruto could actually hide. Even if he had a shinjutsu to shrink himself down like Kawaki, his chakra wasn't infinite and he'd eventually have to resize himself if this was the case where he had something like that, and when that happened, he'd ultimately be caught, so Boruto had nowhere to hide. However, now that Ada has agreed to let Boruto go free because she feels bad for basically ruining Boruto's life, we have to look at what Ada said specifically to Boruto and see why this is a line of potential foreshadowing for the future conflict of Boruto's time skip. She told Boruto that unintended or not, she played a role in making the current situation a reality, and that in order to make amends to that situation, she vowed to not to look for Boruto or Sasuke until either of them returned to Konoha. With her seeing you in the manga, and you was in reference to both of them, she vowed to not look for regardless as to if Shikamaru or Kawaki asked her to do so. The line was pretty clear there. As long as they stay away from Konoha, she won't search for them, and she won't comply with any requests that she's given to search for them either, regardless of who makes it. However, this alliance between Boruto, Sasuke, and Ada is only temporary. Boruto is going to have to eventually come back to the village. He's like every other hero who goes into exile due to no fault of their own from their homeland. He's going to return in order to make things right. He's gonna have his Julius Caesar moment where he crosses the Rubicon. It's part of Boruto's hero's journey, or to use an Asian reference, since the hero's journey is something more akin to what we see used for the framework of Western stories, and Joseph Campbell is a Western writer, we'll say that this is Boruto's journey to the West officially beginning. Like a lot of manga heroes, especially in battle shonen, they have their journey to the West like Sun Wukong, albeit under different circumstances because of different fictional worlds, but there are overlaps there. The journey that Boruto undertakes before he returns to Konoha is going to be one that makes him a stronger fighter, but also steals his resolve as he learns what it truly means to be a shinobi, and in particular, one who protects the village from the shadows, even when it isn't something that is expected of them, and they won't ever receive credit for doing so, nor do they expect to receive credit. Ada, for the meantime, won't betray Boruto's trust, but for the moment being, the moment that Boruto's chakra signature is picked up by someone in Konoha, or Sasuke's chakra signature for that matter, Ada's gonna be free from her agreement with Boruto, and she can actually help Konoha locate Boruto once this happens. When it comes to Boruto, he at least has something foolproof to get him past Konoha's sensory unit, which is now that he's genetically Otsutsuki, he has the ability to erase his chakra signature like we've seen literally every Otsutsuki doing the Naruto franchise, from Kaguya in volume 71 of Naruto to Toneri during Naruto the last movie, Momoshiki and Kinshiki in the Boruto movie, and both Jigen and Ishiki in Boruto's manga. There's no reason to doubt that a genius like Boruto wouldn't be able to figure out exactly how to erase his chakra after years of training, so Boruto is theoretically safe. Sasuke, on the other hand, while he isn't a liability, Sasuke has to go through some more extreme methods to stay hidden once they do return to Konoha. Using a transformation jutsu itself won't work because even if you disguise the body, the chakra from the body itself still remains the same. As of right now, we have no confirmation that Sasuke knows the chakra suppression jutsu, something that Itachi learned while being a member of the Yambo Black Ops. However, it's worth noting, it makes logical sense that he does know the jutsu even though it wasn't outright told to us because he was trained by Orochimaru, who was a key member of Danzo's root organization. It makes sense that Sasuke learned this jutsu as a requirement to travel alongside Orochimaru from hideout to hideout during the 2.5-year time skip of Naruto. That would explain why during a flashback we saw Sasuke and Obito inside of Konoha, and Sasuke was about to snap on the Konoha shinobi who were talking about Itachi's death, and Obito had to remind Sasuke that not even the current Hokage, Tsunade at the time, knew the truth about Itachi, so neither would any of these shinobi. However, assuming that this is the case, it makes the situation one where they'd have to pull a Kashin Koji and move throughout the village without being caught. It's not impossible. We literally saw Kashin Koji do this for an extended period of time, and due to how Old Town, which is basically where Naruto and them grew up at, and New Town, which is where you see Boruto and his generation running around through the city, the big luxury apartments where the Thunder Burger shop is, that's all in New Town. Based on where all those locations are set up there are a plethora of places to hide that provide strategic value to both should they choose to return. In fact, if you go all the way back to Naruto's manga, there was a huge hiding place that's still inside of Konoha that can be used. The Uchiha Memorial that Naruto had built as Hokage is built in what used to be the Uchiha compound. We saw during the war the secret entrance that only an Uchiha can open using the Sharingan and using the hand seals. That location is still there. So there's still a place to hide from within should they choose to do so. However, at some point, Ada's gonna learn of their return, and that's where we have the conflict come into play. We had our expectations as readers subverted in the last chapter. Many of us thought that Ada was gonna be like a GPS or Konoha helping to look for Boruto, but we got a curveball thrown to us and we saw that Ada was going to play nice for the time being. Once she learns that they're in Konoha, all that conflict we were initially expecting is all now back, which means we have the stakes being raised that will elevate the story in terms of conflict and tension, which are two key elements to telling a good story. Boruto is smart enough to know that when he decides to do this, he's only going to get one shot at returning to Konoha, which narratively makes things set up for a very sweet payoff because Boruto knows the moment he returns and is caught and they tip off Ada, he's going to be set for the rest of his life being hunted down by Konoha, who will now have the Sharingan to help Konoha to track him down, which makes hiding impossible for him and makes sleeping for an extended period of time near impossible because he'll always have to stay on the move now that Ada's tracking him. So Boruto only has one shot. That means his time away from Konoha is him taking time to prepare, and what I love about this is that we've seen exactly what happens in Naruto when Prodigy level shinobi have a clear objective, they have time to think over their actions, they have time to think over their enemies' actions and patterns, and they have time to make a strategy based on multiple scenarios and make backup plans for each scenario. There is nothing more dangerous than a determined Prodigy under those circumstances, which is exactly where Boruto would be. The only question is does Boruto have that hunger that's going to be needed in order to pull something like this off? We are about to potentially see Boruto pull off the most incredible demon time counterattack that we've ever had in the manga since Shikamaru pulled the soul out of Hidan in the Akatsuki suppression arc. And for this reference, I'm using the manga version, not what you saw in the anime. So after Asuma died in the manga, Shikamaru wasn't crying in his father's arms going, "Boo-hoo, Asuma's dead. What can I do, father?" Daddy pats him on the back and says, "Okay, son, let it out." Then Shikamaru plays shogi. We ain't talking about that in the anime. So in the manga, this man took Asuma's smokes in his lighter, spent the next few days going over the battle with Hidan and Kakuzu in his mind, training to master Asuma's chakra blades and coming up with a detailed plan on how to bring them down. And when Tsunade said, "Hey, return back to the village," the man kept smoking that cigarette in front of Tsunade and informed her that he was going to smoke Hidan and Kakuzu regardless. That's what she said. And he immediately adjusted his plan to add Kakashi and proceeded to kill Hidan in one of the most poetic ways possible in the Naruto franchise. The symbolism was off the charts here. He threw one of the last cigarettes from Asuma's pack onto Hidan to set off the paper bomb explosion that he was trapped in. A flat out burial, allowing Shikamaru to kill Hidan using Asuma's last smoke. Very poetic in that sense. You actually see Asuma's ghost forming out the smoke itself from the cigarette butt, but it also shows how dangerous a prodigy is when they're pushed to an extreme motivation situation. Boruto right now, he's currently in that spot. He has a village to save, but he also has to get his parents back at all costs. Most importantly, he has to save Kawaki from himself, and he's able to do so now that he has a clear head and understanding of Kawaki's pain. However, if we're wrong here about Boruto and he isn't razor focused to the max, he isn't on demon time like Shikamaru in terms of how complex of a plan he comes up with, he opens himself up for being noticed and being put on Ada's radar, which very well might be something we see when Boruto and Kawaki fight in the future in the ruins of Konoha itself. Ada might very well have betrayed Boruto to Kawaki because he returned back to the village, and once this happens, it's the point of no return. I love the potentials here with this. We truly have a great path to some of the highest stakes possible while also seeing Boruto's character grow in a way that's very befitting of a genius. It's likely due to him being Naruto's son, and as Sasuke said before, he's an even bigger loser than his dad, which is actually a compliment. Boruto, he might make some mistakes due to that. It's only natural due to the era that he's grown up in. It's something that I've said before in the past when talking about Boruto's character. The soft nature of Boruto's character annoys me at times, but that's not something that he can actually help. He wasn't raised in an era of open Cold War between the nations like Naruto's generation was, so it makes sense he is how he is. I still think we have potential for a truly beautiful character arc for Boruto here, and I'm going to be very curious to see what Ada's reaction is to Boruto returning, because it almost feels as if she wants him to stay away because she doesn't want to see him killed. And that's actually going to be my question to you guys. What do you think Ada's reaction is going to be when she has to start working for Konoha to track down Boruto? Is she going to deviate from helping Kawaki because she still feels guilty, or is she going to do so begrudgingly, knowing that at the end of the day this is her fault, but Boruto's the one that broke their agreement? While you guys think that over, click here to watch my every Hashira origin story and Demon Slayer video.